So it's probably due to my finals, but I've been in such a major reading slump that like even audiobooks, like I can't even listen to. It's becoming a problem. So in this week's video, I'm gonna give some tips and let y'all know my methods on how I usually get out of a reading slump and see if it works. I feel like I need to stay on my feet today because whenever I'm like sitting down, I just am so tempted to get on my phone for whatever reason. So because of that, I'm going to listen to an audiobook that I've been trying to finish for like 2 weeks. The book we're starting out is How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong, I think is how you say it. And I think I'm about like 40% through. I will count this as a book if I finish it because of how long I've been trying to finish it for. But yeah, anyways, let's get started. Good morning. It's currently 8 a.m. the next day, Tuesday, and I finished How to End a Love Story all yesterday. I never really get emotional during audiobooks, but it was making me so sad at the very end with all the stuff that was going on. And the ending actually like raised the score for me. Initially I was thinking like 3.75, but the ending to me raised it to a 4-star. I've never read a book like that, I feel like. I felt like the book was very unique to me. Maybe I just haven't read enough books yet, but those were my thoughts on it. Now I'm unsure what I want to read next. I'm gonna try The Risk. It's the first book in the Mind F series. I can't really say it on YouTube. So I'm going to start with that. It's pretty short. I think it's only like 200 pages. And I think it's like a romance thriller, which is something I really need when I'm in a slump. At this rate, I might get out of the slump and read 3 books in a week. We'll see. So I am back. It's currently around 1 o'clock. I took a little break, but I just binged out the rest of the book. So that's already 2 books in 2 days. I've never read that much, but also take it with a grain of salt, right? First one, I was 40% way through. This one was 150 pages. Before I move on to the next book, I wanted to talk real quick about The Risk, which is the first book in the Mind F series. The Risk is about a girl named Lana who is a serial killer. And during her killing spree, she meets Logan, who is an FBI agent and a pretty good one at that. And it's about like their, I don't want to necessarily call it love story so far, but them, I guess, falling in love while she's committing these crimes and he's trying to solve the murders. I really did enjoy this book and would probably give it, the first one, like a 4 out of 5 stars. It was nothing crazy, especially because it was so short, but I finished it in like 5 hours, 4 hours about, and I already want to move on to the next one. Also, I like the little twist at the end. I feel like her lies throughout these next few books are going to start catching up to her. So I'm going to try to start the next book, which is called Sidetracked, and see how she gets out of this pickle she's in. And I'll start reading a little bit of it now. Since the last time I've checked in, I have read so many books, you guys. This whole week, I have not read 1 book, 2 books, not 3 books or 4 books. I've read 5 books so far. Going to be 6 by tomorrow, to be honest. The Mind F series is so good and addicting. It's like exactly what I needed for this slump. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm about to literally start reading the last one because it ended on such a great cliffhanger. So far, 4 is my favorite one, the one I just finished. It was so good. And honestly, the Mind F series could be one book, pretty much. Each book's about 130, 140 pages. I guess it would be like just a really big book. But the author, she split it into 5. And it honestly makes you want to read more, oddly, because like it always ends on a cliffhanger. You're just so bingeable. You're like on your toes the whole time. Like, is she gonna catch him? Because you know as the reader that she's a serial killer. And it's not a spoiler. You literally figure out right away. But you as the reader know she's a serial killer. And so you see the hints she kind of like accidentally drops to him. But he's like falling in love with her that he doesn't even see it. But other people start noticing too, though. So it's like, it's so good. It's so good. And it's all dwindling down. This last book is going to be, I think, insane. The author's S.T. Abbey. If she has made other books, I'm so gonna read them after. Out of this whole, all my tips, everything, whatever. If you have not read this book, I swear, like if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I swear it'll help you get out of that slump. Like, so addicting. And then you get not 1, but 5 books added to your reading goal. Like, I have to read 50. I was like literally so behind. And now I'm about to be right back on track. Actually, I think I'm gonna be a book ahead. And I'm gonna start the 5th book right now. Hi you guys, so I'm back to give my final updates and then talk about my tips and tricks on how to get out of the slump. So to start off, the last book in the Mind F series is called Paint It Red, and it was just as good to me as All the Lies, which is the 4th book in the series. And so for the whole week, I read a total of 6 books, which is insane. My ratings for those are How to End a Love Story was 4 out of 5 stars. The Risk, the first in the Mind F series, was 4 out of 5 stars. Sidetracked, the second in the series, was 4 out of 5 stars. Scarlet Angel, the third in the series, was 3 out of 5 stars. And then All the Lies and Painted All Red were both 5 out of 5 stars. I think it's one of the best reading weeks I had in such a long time. And now I'm going to go into my overall tips. If you're ever in a slump and just don't know what to do to get out of it, here are the tricks that work for me. The first tip is reread books you have already read and know you love. I almost reread Happy Place this week because that's like my favorite book of all time and I haven't reread it yet. And I know that could get me out of a slump. So I would start there. Reread a book that you absolutely love. The second tip is to read a book that you've been highly anticipating. I almost read Fearless by Lauren Roberts. That would have been my choice because I have been highly anticipating that book, but I wasn't really in that fantasy type of mood this week. So that's also a tip. Don't force yourself to read something. Like, read something you know can help you get out of a slump. That's why I didn't read that book, but that's always an option. My third tip is to listen to audiobooks, which I did. I actually did do it as well, not only with How to End a Love Story, but with a few of the books in the Mind F series. They have a lot of books available on YouTube. What I find is, like, when you're in a slump, that first half of the book is really hard to get through. And so usually when you have an audiobook and you're able to listen to that first half and then start getting to the good parts, you can easily transition to the physical book. So that's something to always keep in mind. My fourth tip is to read YA, romance, or thriller books. Those 3 genres are just easier to read. Why I didn't read fantasy this week is because it's just too high a concept usually. There's big words, there's lots of characters, the plot's confusing. Usually romance, YA fantasy, you can even do that, just any sort of YA. and thriller, they're usually super fast paced, super easy to read, and like the font's bigger if you have a physical copy, at least for YA, which I find that super helpful when I'm in a slump. My fifth tip is to set aside 30 minutes to an hour a day where you sit your phone away from you and you just get out a book, and you set a timer on your phone though, and you just try to read for those 30 minutes. Pick a book that you've been wanting to read and just focus on it for that 30 minutes to an hour. And that usually works for me if I just constantly set aside time and make sure I get to it, because sometimes I get into a slump because like I just don't set aside time during the day. And then when it comes to the end of the day and I'm tired, I don't really want to read, right? So those are a few of my tips and tricks on how I got out of a slump. Thank you guys for watching today. If you have any other tips and tricks or book suggestions that like help you get out of a slump, please comment them down below. I would love to hear them. And like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.